Some people grow up, others simply grow around their wounds, carrying the pain of a childhood that never loved them back. You don't notice the damage at first. That's the thing about growing up without love. The wounds don't scream, they whisper. They shape you quietly, slowly, patiently, like water carving stone. You learn early that affection is something other people receive, not you. And because a child can't blame their parents, they blame themselves. So the wound forms, not as a memory, but as a belief. I must not matter enough to be loved. It starts with the small things. The way you hesitate before speaking, afraid your voice will be too much or not enough. The way you watch other children get comfort, wondering why your hurt doesn't earn the same response. Every ignored tear, every dismissed need, every moment you felt unseen. Your mind collects them like evidence, proof that you are forgettable, proof that you deserve less, proof that love isn't your language. And the worst part is how normal it feels. When love is absent, you don't call it neglect, you call it life. You call it just how things are. You grow around the emptiness like a tree bending around a wall, shaping your entire being around something you never received. You learn to stop reaching out, because reaching only reminds you of the hands that were never there to catch you. You build walls not to keep people out, but because no one ever tried to come in. As you grow older, these invisible scars start choosing for you. They choose the friends you tolerate, the partners you chase, the treatment you accept. Not because it feels good, but because it feels familiar. You gravitate toward emotional coldness because warmth feels suspicious. You find yourself drawn to people who give you the same inconsistency you grew up with. It's not that you want to be hurt. Your wound just recognizes the pattern. It confuses pain with love, silence with safety, distance with stability. And when life offers you something genuine, real affection, real care, your first instinct is to flinch. Love feels like a spotlight, and you're used to the shadows. You question it, sabotage it, push it away, or chase it too hard because you don't know how to hold it. The wound taught you to mistrust what you needed the most. These scars don't show up on your skin. They show up in your thoughts, the constant self-doubt, the fear of being a burden, the reflex to apologize for existing, the habit of shrinking yourself so no one has a reason to reject you. You keep people at arm's length, not because you want distance, but because being close feels dangerous. You learned early that closeness leads to disappointment. The unloved child becomes the adult who tries to earn everything: attention, affection, approval. As though love is a currency they can only afford in installments. They work harder, give more, break themselves open trying to prove they are worthy, because the child inside them still believes love must be earned through suffering. But the truth is simpler and darker. You didn't fail to be lovable. Someone failed to love you, and that wound, quiet, invisible, lifelong, shapes every part of who you become, until the moment you finally face it, name it, and understand it was never your burden to carry. The wound wasn't your fault, only your pain was left behind. There's a certain kind of childhood where you don't grow into yourself, you grow into a role. You learn early that who you naturally are isn't enough to earn love, so you reshape yourself into whatever version keeps the peace, avoids the anger, or wins the little crumbs of approval you're starving for. You become quiet if your voice irritates them. You become responsible if your needs are inconvenient. You become invisible if your presence feels like a burden. Slowly, the real you sinks beneath the surface, and the performance becomes the only version anyone recognizes. It doesn't happen in a single moment. It's a slow erosion, a steady silencing. Every time you're met with indifference, you adjust. Every time you're met with rejection, you tighten your smile. You learn how to hide your fears, soften your sadness, bury your needs. You master the art of pretending everything is fine, because showing pain only invites more distance. In a home without love, emotional honesty becomes a liability. So you wrap your truth in layers of quiet survival. And at first, it works. You get through the days, you avoid conflict. You make yourself small enough to be tolerated. But every adaptation comes at a cost, and the price is always the same. You lose pieces of yourself you never get back. You become the child who grows up knowing everyone else better than you know yourself. You study their moods, their reactions, their storms, You learn how to anticipate their needs before they even speak. You learn how to disappear without leaving the room. You become a shadow with a heartbeat. By the time you reach adulthood, the mask fits too well. You don't even notice it's there. You just call it your personality. You call it being strong, independent, self-controlled, when really it's the same survival strategy you built as a child still running the show. And this is where the real war begins. Not between you and the world, but between who you are and who you trained yourself to be. Every part of you that was silenced as a child begins to push against the walls you built. The need to be seen, the need to rest, the need to be held. They all rise to the surface, but the performance you've mastered keeps shoving them back down. You feel the tension in moments you can't explain. When someone asks what you like and you have no real answer. When someone shows genuine care and you freeze because you don't know how to receive it. When someone gets close and your chest tightens. Not from fear of them, but from fear they might see the person you buried years ago. Living with this internal split is like being trapped between two mirrors. The reflection you show the world and the reflection you avoid meeting in yourself. And the tragic part is that people often praise the version of you that isn't real. They admire your calmness, your strength, your selflessness. They never see the exhausted soul behind the performance. The one who learned to be everything for everyone, but nothing for themselves. You become addicted to the validation the mask earns, even though it keeps you disconnected from the love you desperately want. Because to be loved as your true self, you'd have to reveal a self you never had the freedom to fully become. The unloved child grows up carrying a silent grief, the grief of losing themselves in order to survive. And until you confront that truth, you live in a constant battle between the person you show and the person you hide. You survived by pretending. Now you break by being real. There's a certain kind of emptiness that begins long before you know how to name it. It forms in a childhood where your emotional needs were met with silence, distance, or irritation, where wanting comfort felt like asking for too much, and needing closeness felt like crossing a line. So you learned early not to reach out, not to ask, not to expect. You trained yourself to swallow the hunger for affection until it blended into your personality. You call it independence now, but it started as neglect. This kind of emotional starvation isn't loud. It doesn't make scenes. It grows quietly in the background of your life, shaping how you love, how you attach, how you fall apart. You enter adulthood carrying a hunger you barely recognize, a hunger for warmth, for presence, for someone who looks at you like you matter. But because you never learned how healthy love feels, you confuse the hunger for weakness. You tell yourself you don't need anyone. You pretend that being untouched by emotion is strength. But deep down, the emptiness never stopped aching. This is how many people end up chasing love that hurts. They mistake intensity for intimacy because that's the only kind of emotional signal they understand. Chaos feels like connection. Inconsistency feels like attention. Being ignored feels familiar enough to tolerate. You don't choose this pattern consciously. You're simply drawn to what your wounds recognize. You keep trying to fill the void with people who deepen it, because that's the emotional blueprint your childhood left behind. And then there's the other side of the hunger, the overgiving, the overloving, the overfixing. You pour yourself into others hoping someone will finally pour back. You stretch yourself thin to earn affection, to prove your worth, to feel needed. Not because you want to be everything for everyone, but because no one was ever anything for you. Love, for you, becomes labor, a constant effort, a transaction where you offer too much and receive too little, all because the emptiness inside convinces you that scraps are better than nothing. The strangest part is how uncomfortable genuine love can feel when it finally appears. When someone offers warmth without conditions, your first impulse is to step back. When someone is consistent, when someone stays, when someone sees you, the hunger inside you panics. Because real nourishment is unfamiliar. It feels suspicious, overwhelming, almost painful. You don't trust what you were never taught to receive. So you retreat, shut down, sabotage, or disappear because the emptiness inside you has spent years convincing you that love is dangerous. And yet you crave it. The longing is there. always there, echoing beneath your calm exterior. You feel it in the late-night ache you can't explain, in the silence that feels heavier than it should, in the relationships where you give everything and still feel unseen, in the way you collapse into yourself when you realize you're the strong one, the stable one, the one who never asks, never breaks, never needs. Because somewhere along the way, your emotional hunger convinced you that your needs are a burden, something to hide, something to deny, something to starve. But a heart that was deprived doesn't forget. It remembers every absence, every cold moment, every unmet need, and it keeps asking, quietly, for what it never received. Not loudly, not dramatically, just constantly, like a ghost humming underneath your life. The truth is simple. You didn't grow numb, you grew hungry. And hunger, when ignored, becomes a wound that never sleeps. There's a belief that forms in the mind of an unloved child, and it doesn't arrive suddenly. It sinks in slowly, like a cold truth settling into the bones. It starts in the moments you didn't understand. The unanswered cries, the affection that never came, the look of irritation when you needed comfort, the empty space beside you when you needed someone to stay. As a child, you didn't have the language to call it neglect. You only had one explanation your young mind could hold: something must be wrong with me. And once that belief roots itself, it grows everywhere. It becomes the lens you see your entire life through. Every rejection feels deserved. Every failure feels like confirmation. Every moment of being overlooked feels like evidence that you were right all along. You weren't enough then, so why would you be enough now? Even as an adult, you carry that quiet conviction into every relationship. You enter rooms feeling like you have to earn your place. You hold yourself back because you assume people will eventually lose interest. You brace for disappointment long before it happens. You apologize too quickly, shrink too easily, tolerate too much, all because the child inside you still whispers that you are the problem. And it's not loud. It's never loud. It's subtle, heavy, and constant, like a shadow you can't outrun. This is the hidden grief of those who grew up unloved. You learn to take the blame for someone else's inability to care. You turn their silence into your shame. You turn their emotional absence into your flaw. You carry their failures as if they were your identity, and no one sees it. People around you may think you're confident, calm, even strong. They have no idea that beneath the surface, you question your worth in every interaction, analyzing the tone of every message, reading too deeply into every pause, terrified that you're too much or not enough or simply forgettable. You start living cautiously. You keep your emotions on a leash. You lower your expectations before anyone can disappoint you. You try to be agreeable, pleasant, self-contained, because you believe your needs are too heavy and your presence is too demanding. And when someone does hurt you, when someone pulls away, when someone loses interest, you don't get angry, you get quiet. Because deep down, you expected it. You always expected it. And this is how the cycle continues. A childhood wound becomes an adult pattern. You choose partners who make you feel small because that's how you learned love works. You stay loyal to people who drain you because you think leaving means you're ungrateful. You settle for situations that break you because the brokenness feels familiar. Every time you get hurt, you don't question the other person. You question yourself. You ask what you did wrong, what you lacked, what part of you pushed them away. But the truth is not that you were unlovable. The truth is that someone failed to love you in the way you deserved, and you built your identity around their inability. You adopted their shortcomings as your flaws. You mistook their emotional emptiness for a reflection of your worth. You carried their silence like a sentence you would serve for the rest of your life. And yet, the moment you see this clearly, the moment you realize the lie, you feel the ground under you shift. Because the belief that haunted you wasn't born from who you are. It was born from who they weren't. And once you understand that, the wound begins to loosen its grip. You were never the problem. They just never saw your worth. The truth is simple. Your childhood wrote the wound, but only you can refuse to live by its lie. Break the echo. Become the person they never protected.